everybody, and welcome to episode number 15 of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson from Ruby and Violet Designs. So on today's episode, I am back to showing some pretty colorful fabric, and I think that this week's fabric is pretty eclectic and pretty bright in terms of color. And I'm going to show you guys a pattern that I have been eyeing for a while, and I went ahead and purchased it. I'll give you guys all the details on that, and I used the fabric I'm going to show you to start my first block. The blocks are pretty big, and so I only got one of them done, but I'm excited to make more of them with this fabric. And then I'm going to show you a quilt that I actually made in this fabric, and it's really beautiful, and I think that you'll like that as well. So I don't know if anybody watches Tula Pink's Tula Tuesdays on, or Tula Talk Tuesdays on Tuesdays, but I watch them. I think that she's amazing as a quilter, fabric designer, and she's funny, and I just like listening to the different things that she has to say and what she's working on. And she brought something up this week that I found really interesting, and it's really stuck with me, and that is that she kind of categorized quilters into two different categories. The first category is you have quilters who see a fabric and they kind of pick what they're going to make based off of that kind of focal fabric or that main fabric or main fabrics that they love. They kind of go for that fabric first and then figure out what they're going to make with it. And then you have pattern quilters, and those are people who see a pattern and then they find their fabric to be, geared around that pattern, and then they go from there. And I found it really interesting because I kind of think I'm both. I definitely see fabrics that I think, oh my gosh, I have to have that fabric, I want that fabric, and then I figure out what I'm going to make with it from there. But in this instance today, I saw this pattern online, and it was actually a sew along. I kind of missed the boat with joining it. I think it started a while ago. I think I saw somewhere that they were on week 8, but I loved the pattern, especially when I started seeing some of these throw blankets and things that people were making with it. And it's called Knitted Star, and it's by Lo Behold Stitchery by Brittany Lloyd. And I just fell in love with this pattern, partially because I do love to knit, and then partially because it is just a really neat looking pattern. And when I started seeing the fabrics that people were choosing to make theirs, and it's just, this design pops so amazingly when you make it, and I had to try it for myself, and then I knew that I had this extra fabric from a quilt that I had made, and I knew that I wanted to use this fabric to make this because it is so bright and it would pop so easily, and so I'm excited to show you guys that today. And so the fabric that I chose for this week is by Libs Elliott for Andover Fabrics, and these first two are called Electric Eye, and you see one in the more of a fuchsia color, and this one's a navy. And if you look kind of closely, you can see the little electricity sign, and these are little eyeballs. But from far away, it's more of an all-over print, and you can't really see what it is, and so it makes the fabric so versatile in what you want to do. If you want to focus on what the actual concept of the fabric is, I feel like you can do that with this fabric, but I also think that just color-wise, it looks really good from a distance with the print on it. Because I don't like just plain, boring fabrics, I like the little details and the illustrations and these neat aspects behind the fabrics. And so this one is called Moon Age, and you can see it's a little bit of an off-white, not really a cream, but more of a gray off-white with more of like a grayish blue moon. And then you have your really bright green with the turquoise moon, and then more of a pink versus a fuchsia in this one. And then this one is called Beast Mode. And who doesn't love a turquoise and chartreuse green leopard print fabric? I do. I think that it's really fun, and it really coincides and goes well with the rest of these fabrics. So when you kind of hold them all up together, you can see just how well they go together. And so now I'm going to show you guys the quilt that I made, and then I'll get further into the pattern that I used from Lo Behold Stitchery. And so here is the quilt that I made. This was a mystery quilt that was designed by Sheila Christensen, and it was for Cotton Cuts fabric. And this was the fabric choices that Sheila had chose as one of the colorways. Well, Sheila or Cotton Cuts, I don't know if they worked together or not to choose those colorways, but this was one of the colorways for that mystery quilt. And I love this fuchsia color. It's probably one of my favorite colors, and so that's why I gravitated towards this colorway. And then I absolutely fell in love with the fabric as I was working with it, and I didn't even get tired of it at all. But as you can see, I have this quilt still on the batting, and it needs to be quilted one thing at a time. And so anyway, I just wanted to show you guys, this is one application of using these fabrics together. And this white moon fabric really gives a good neutral color for behind to give your eyes a little bit of a break from all of the color. But again, I think that these fabrics work so well together. The colors, the vibrancy of the fabrics all go well together. And so anyway, I hope that you like this quilt. And then back to the pattern that I chose for this week, which is the Knitted Star by Lo Behold Stitchery, Brittany Lloyd's design for Lo Behold Stitchery. This is mine with the Electric Eye fabric, and I also chose in the pattern to use the sashing, the little sashing cornerstones, to use this Electric Eye one too. And then I'm also going to make the knitted stars out of the other colors, all except for probably the whitish gray moon fabric. I don't know that I'll have enough pop in that specific fabric. I want to use the brighter ones for this, and so I do intend to do that. And as I was making it, I really enjoyed making this. It's the cutting, I guess, is a little bit tedious, but putting it together is really easy. A lot easier than I initially thought. But if you follow her cutting instructions, you actually make a bigger piece and then attach the background pieces to that, and then you're able to cut all of them for your block. And so you're really only sewing up just a bigger piece, and then you cut it down from there. So that saved a lot of time, and anyway, I really enjoyed making this block, and I'm excited to make more. I was actually initially just going to make the wall hanging, which is another element of this pattern that I really like. It's not only fat quarter friendly, but she has it broken down to where you can make a wall hanging, a throw blanket, or a larger quilt for a bed. And I just thought that that was such a good idea in a pattern to include all of those options, because sometimes people maybe don't want to make a big quilt. They might just want to make a wall hanging, and this is a gorgeous wall hanging. And so I just think that that was a really great idea in a pattern to have those options. And I also don't know that I've sewn a pattern that has a wall hanging, a throw option, and a bigger quilt option. Possibly, but I don't think that I have. Usually the patterns, except for I guess Elizabeth Hartman's could be a baby blanket or a larger blanket, but I don't think the wall hanging has ever been an option. And anyway, as you can see, it's really pretty block, and I hope that you guys will check out her pattern, Knitted Star, and she's on Instagram, and I'm gonna drop her Instagram handle below. Listed it previously in the video, but I'll list it again, and definitely check this pattern out. I hope that you guys enjoyed this week of Fabric Fridays with me, Mary Morningstar Johnson from Ruby and Violet Designs, and I hope you have a safe and happy and healthy Halloween weekend. Bye.